everyone. Thank you for joining me. Tonight we're going to be talking briefly about emotions and essential oils and how, I guess, they affect our body, because they affect it quite profoundly. And one area that I am very new to, I initially got essential oils, I guess, more for the physical benefit, which is amazing. But the emotional side and the emotional support is a whole new realm. So I am loving my oils at the moment for emotional support, not only for myself, but also my children and my husband and everyone else that I get in contact with. And some stories that I get are just really life-changing and amazing. I got one from a girlfriend this afternoon. I'll read it out to you. She said I could share it. It's just beautiful. She said, so I totally forgot to contact you, but I did a little research and trying to find some calming oils to try and get Henry to relax a bit before. So Henry is her son. He's a couple years old, and not be so anxious. He never was until he had his second surgery. So Henry has had a few health concerns, and he's been in and out of hospital a bit. So after his second surgery, he became anxious, I guess, and whether that was a chemical thing or a confidence thing, I'm not sure. But he felt like he was always a bit on edge, and obviously that doesn't help when you're trying to leave him with a therapist or a speech therapist. Anyway, I found some amazing little combo after doing some research: vetiver, cedarwood, wild orange, frankincense, and lavender. Popped them in the diffuser today, and for the first time ever, this afternoon, he asked to go outside by himself. Climbed down the back stairs and is now playing out the back, all by himself. I can't believe it. I just think that is totally worth everything that I do every single day, all the hours I put in. To hear someone, have that such success, profound success, with the oils on emotional level is really, really empowering for me and for her, because this is an issue that she has had to deal with for a very long time. And the fact that she now has tools at her capability to just go and use to support the children, feel like they have the confidence just to go outside and play by themselves is amazing. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share my screen briefly. This is hopefully you can see that. If I can get a thumbs up, Alicia, can you see that, hon? Cool. Okay, so obviously that's my family, my beautiful kitties, and doTERRA essential oils, if you have used them before, cover a lot of different areas. And what I'm going to talk about today is emotions, I guess, on behalf of women and children, because I think that's, one where my experience comes from. As a disclaimer, I am not a physician, I'm not a psychologist. I am a mum with my own experience and my own research, and I'm not here to treat or diagnose or cure or prevent anything, but what I do hope to achieve is a little bit of education for everyone. Sorry to have my back to you, Tanya.
No.
But you can read the screen, so that's okay. So yeah, I really hope we're gonna cover some really interesting stuff today. Some of the things, I do have lots of notes here. So some of the things we're going to cover is look at this holistically, I guess. So I'll go to the second slide. So doTERRA, yes, they are an essential oil company, but on a bigger level, they're a wellness company. They're about full spectrum wellness. It's not just about having one thing that's going to do everything. It's about eating right, exercising, resting, managing your sleep, managing your toxic load, and we're going to discuss all of those. We're also going to discuss lifestyle and the biochemical reactions that the essential oils have in our body, and the deficiencies sometimes within our body that cause certain things. So there's different types of moods, which when you start to release and use the oils to release blockages and emotional blocks, there's different ways to go about it. Have anyone heard of emotional intelligence? That's new. This new emotional intelligence theory, which is ET, I guess, EI, is new to me, but it makes complete sense. My emotional intelligence, I think, as a child was very poor, and that wasn't because I didn't grow up in a loving home or anything. It was just because you get taught what your parents know, and they get taught what their parents know. And some parents and families grow up in a very emotionally aware environment, and other people don't. And that's not necessarily a bad or a good thing. It just lets you know how you process information when you get it. So for me, as a child, I was always very angry, quite hot-headed, and I found it difficult to process why I was feeling that way. And that was my lack of emotional intelligence. So there's a book called Emotions and Essential Oils. Can everyone see that one? I know it's probably little, but that's a really great book. This is going to be your Bible. Every single oil has an emotional connection to the body. All oils, because they are organic, they're made of carbon. We're made of carbon. They go into our body. They've got vibrational frequencies, just like we have vibrational frequencies. So when we interact and are close to people, that's how you get vibes from people. Everyone feel a vibe from people? That's the emotional frequency that you're putting off, the vibrational frequency you're putting off. So when we're going to talk about the emotional side of things and clearing those blockages, you have false moods and you have true moods. So false moods are those unconscious reactions to things. Sometimes you hold on to emotions. They're locked inside of you and they keep coming up over and over and over again, and you dwell on them. They're not necessarily something that's happening right now, but it's something that you have inside your system that is in there for a particular reason. And then there's a true mood, and a true mood can be something that's normally happening in the real and now, and it might be a relationship or a discussion with someone, and those true moods can normally be talked through. And it could be an argument at the start of the day, you part your own ways, you think about it, you analyse it, think about it logically, you come back together and talk it out, or it's fine. But you process it. And I think initially I might have thought that was a weakness, to kind of go, oh, well, you should stand up for what you believe in. But I think there's actually a real strength and understanding in emotional intelligence, and actually being able to analyse that within your own body, and be able to come to a logical agreement without the emotion. Deal with the emotion, put it somewhere, and then be able to talk about it using words rather than feelings or emotions, I guess. So that's the difference between false mood and a true mood. So we want to look about unlocking all those false stuff, all that stuff from, years and years and years ago, maybe even childhood, and try and get to a place where we're just living in the true mood, the true emotion, something that we can deal with on a daily basis, process, and then use the oils to support us emotionally to do that. And one way we do that is through our limbic system. So when I was talking about this class was changing a mood within 7 seconds. So if anyone's got an oil in front of them, just grab it. Here's one. Would you like citrus bliss? There you go. I've got balance. Crack the lid and just smell it. That's either going to make you smile, or it's going to give you a memory, or it's going to provoke some kind of reaction in your body. So 7 seconds, that smell that you just smelled goes up through your nose into the olfactory bulbs, which is kind of there, and kind of into the limbic system. And that is your control seat for your emotions inside your brain, right there. And then that controls a lot of other things, including your pituitary gland, which controls pretty much everything. As you can see from this diagram, it's your thyroid glands, your adrenal glands, your stress hormones, your productive hormones, your digestive hormones. See where I'm talking about this now? See where I'm going? Digestive, gut health. Reproductive glands, hormones, fertility. Adrenal glands, stress related. Now remember, stress isn't just mental stress, the stress that we have from interactions day to day. It can be physical stress that we have on our body. It can be emotional stress. It can be financial stress. Gosh, we've been made redundant 3 times. We have financial stress. We have been there, down to 2 digits in the bank account. It's not fun. But people have it. Everyone has some sort of stress, whether they like to admit it or not. We can't stop cars driving past our front door. So that's an environmental stress. We don't all wear hemp and pure organic cotton. Well, I certainly don't. So we come into contact with plastics and other toxins, things that we come into contact with. They all put stress on our body. So all those stresses then have to go through these areas in our brain. So even by smelling essential oils, having a diffuser on and using it on a regular basis is going to be helping the cells, your brain, to be able to process things. I'm noticing just by using these oils on a regular basis, be it mood oils or not, my awareness of my body and my true mood versus my false mood has heightened. My false mood, they're clearing out. And it might be a specific experience I have with an oil at a time. That, say, spearmint, I had an emotional connection with back in childhood, sat with it for about an hour and cleared it, and it hasn't come back. It's really allowed me to move on with my life and grow into the adult that I want to become. So that's a really powerful thing to have available to me. I'm just going to go through some notes again because I don't want to miss out. Just remember that your mood isn't who you are. Some people think it defines them. Your mood is basically your subconscious. It's your unconscious. You're programmed in the first 7 years of your life. So when you're drinking a cup of tea, you're not thinking about picking up that cup of tea and drinking it. That's a skill you learned in the first 7 years of your life, if you think about it that way. When you learn the alphabet, it's really clunky. My 4-year-old is learning the alphabet. She gets them all mixed up and she sings L-M-N-O-P and it's like one letter to her. It's not 6. So it's clunky. And when you're learning a new skill, it's clunky. So she's currently programming her unconscious mind, everything that's happening right now. So even my interactions with her, and that's why I love doing these oils and empowering mothers to use them with their children, because it's helping them learn a new way to look after themselves emotionally and physically. So when I'm using my oils on my 2-year-old and my 4-year-old, I know that this is all going into their unconscious mind, that it is going to support them for decades to come. And at least it's going to be, if it doesn't, at least it's not hurting them. You can only try as a mother, isn't that right? So yeah, like it's really something that's important to me. And I just want to say that we're adults and we're not necessarily in the position that we always want to be. And sometimes we don't know why we are how we are. And that's just to do with your programming. And the good thing about programming is it's going to be reprogrammed. Okay, there's lots of new ways to reprogram. And especially with emotions. Emma's still awake. So essential oils help you reprogram. When you start working with them and you start looking at things and listening to your body and not, reburying it, you can actually work through these blockages and go through the alphabet. You're learning to read and write again. It's going to be clunky. These new emotions and processing these new emotions is going to be clunky. But it's going to be beneficial. So, yes, Emma. Thank you, darling. Now, I want to just talk about stress. This is a big stress for me right now. The old me pre-oils would probably be flipping out right now because she's been put to bed a few times and I've asked her politely not to come down, but she still is. Emma, you've got to go back to bed now, darling. Go see Daddy. Go see Daddy. Please, Daddy. Daddy's in this room. Where? In there. Thank you. So I can feel my body going ee right now, and I'm still reprogramming because I'm trying to learn to be a better person. So maybe I should have a smell of my balance. Maybe I need citrus bliss. Maybe I need elevation. Maybe I need them all. Oh dear, dear me. So remember also when we're talking about stress, and your adrenal gland and your blood sugar levels, these all affect lots of other things in your gut health. So what I'm going to talk about firstly is your gut health. Your serotonin, which is your happy drug in your body, is produced in your gut. 90% of it is produced in your gut. So if your gut health is off, if the balance is off, the rest of your body is going to be off. Okay, so it's really important when you're looking at mood that you need to look at your gut. And I think that people have known about the gut-brain link for a long time, but the science has only just now caught up with that. But yeah, there's lots of other links between gut health and brain. So I can't really get into the details, and we're not allowed to talk about, symptoms and things like that, but it definitely exists. And there's a lot of oils that can support you. Frankincense, for one, is amazing. Even peppermint, digestin. Get a really good quality probiotic, because at the end of the day, you are what you absorb. If your body's not absorbing the nutrients, then you're not getting what you need or what you think you're getting. So doTERRA do a really good supplement range. The Lifelong Vitality Pack, I use it. It's there. I'm actually going to be doing a cleanse and restore next month. I'm ordered it on Loyalty Rewards program this month for next month. So from the 1st of May to the 30th of May, I'm doing a cleanse, a gut cleanse, for 2 reasons. One, because I think it's good for our body to kind of flush everything out. I've never done one before, but I've heard good things. And 2, I'm getting ready for winter, because the other thing is that a huge portion of our immunity is in our gut. So if our gut health is out, our immunity is out, our immunity is low. So, and then when we get sick, what happens? Do you think we're really bubbly personalities when we're sick? No, we're depressed and we're cranky pants. So it's affecting our emotions again. And this is that cycle. And it's all stemming from the gut. And it's an area which is really hard to understand. And it's icky because it's to do with digestion, and, it's not necessarily a pretty topic, but it's really, really important. So if nothing else, go to, a chemist and ask for a really good probiotic, not necessarily the one that they sell at the front, but maybe one they keep out the back. And also a digestive enzyme. So with my Lifelong Vitality supplements, which include, the omega complex, the cellular complex, and the good thing about these, I guess, versus the ones that you would buy from a chemist, is that they're whole food. They're not synthetic, just like all of doTERRA stuff. They're not synthetic. So when we absorb them, our body can absorb them. We're not getting a synthetic form of vitamin C or a synthetic form of vitamin D or B. It is the actual food bioavailable to our body. So you're not peeing yellow. I always used to pee bright yellow when I'd have a Berocca or even a pregnancy supplement. It's because it's that synthetic stuff that your body doesn't know what to do with, and it just pees it straight out. So that's just expensive urine. You might as well use something, spend the money on something that your body's going to be able to absorb and utilize. And that's where the Lifelong Vitality supplements come in. And then this is the other part of the gut cleanse, which I'm going to be doing. So anyone is more than welcome to help me, because this will help with your emotional health and also your immunity coming into winter. But you can see there's one called Terrazyme, which is on the far right. Terrazyme is probably the best digestive enzyme I've ever used. I've used a lot before, and this one, but they've only had 5 enzymes. This one's got 10, hence the Terra. But it's amazing. So what happens with this is you take them before you have food, maybe 10, 20 minutes before you have food. And it means that if your gut isn't developed enough to have all those enzymes, some people have issues with glucose, some people have issues with lactose and milk, some people have issues with protein. I mean, those 3 are my terrible ones: sugar, milk, and protein. I've always had issues with. And the lack of protein absorption has led to my inflammation in my body. So I've been looking into digestive enzymes for quite some time. But that's something that's going to be really, really important for you to be able to absorb your food and for your gut health to get better. And hopefully your mood. The other ones there are there's a probiotic they do as well. The Assist is part of the cleansing program. So basically that cleanses your gut and then you restore it again with the Zendocrine, and that actually helps with with the probiotic. And the Zendocrine, which is actually available in a liquid form in Australia, that's your detoxification complex. So if anyone is actually feeling like they're, I don't know, heavy and weighed down, be it emotionally or physically, it probably is stemming from stuff stored in your organs, your liver, your kidneys. And the reason I say this is because emotions get stored in our body. Has anyone heard of that term before? Has anyone read about that? There's books on it. I've got it written down somewhere in my notes. If I come across it, I'll let you know, or I'll write it in the post after this. But emotions get stored in our body, and that can lead to long-term issues down the track. Might not happen straight away. It could be something as a sore tummy or a sore shoulder, or I don't know, something like that. But there is that's your body trying to communicate to you. So look into it. It's definitely worth looking into. But the Zendocrine detoxification blend is really, really great. So this is a picture of a cell. So just a little bit of science. We all have these cells. We have 40 million trillion cells. Nice. They're supposed to be nice and round. And those little antennas on top are the cell receptors. So those cell receptors are how our body communicates with everything. And those little yellow dots are messengers. So basically what they do is whatever's floating around in our system, it could be something unsanitary we breathed in at the supermarket. It could be anything. It could be an emotion that's storing in our body. So those chemicals kind of talk to one another. They talk to the cell receptor, and then it tells that cell what to do. Does that make sense? So that's how our cell gets told what to do, by those little cell receptors. Now, sometimes those cell receptors get a little bit sideways and a little bit bent, a little bit crooked. You can't quite get reception on them properly. So that's when things start to go haywire. And the problem with that is because when the cells don't communicate properly, they don't know what to do. And that's when they deform. And what happens to deformed cells? Can I use the C word? I can't really use the C word. It's not a good thing. You don't want unhealthy cells because then they deform. But the great thing of what essential oils can do is an essential oil is a messenger. And that messenger can not only talk to the cell receptors, but it can actually go in through the cell wall and actually support the inside of the cell and anything that is inside the cell, which is where viruses live. So it can support anything inside of there. It can also clean those cell receptors. So if those cell receptors have been badly damaged for whatever reason, stresses or anything, previous medications we've taken, antibiotics, all sorts of things, they can clean those receptors and rejuvenate them and oxygenate those cells. Oxygenating the cells is the biggest thing that you can do for your general health. And that's what essential oils are so fantastic about doing. So the other good thing about essential oils functions and the emotions is that essential oils they're adaptive and they're selective. So the fact that when we come into contact with say peppermint oil, where's my peppermint? Here's a peppermint. Do you want to smell peppermint? Mm-hmm. Peppermint oil is a beautiful oil. I love it. But it does a lot of things in our body, doesn't it? Like if we use it for our tummy, if we take a drop under our tongue or put it in some water and digest it, which we can do with doTERRA because they're pure and amazing, that it helps with our gut health. It helps calm our stomach. But if we just smell it, it wakes us up. It's stimulating. So it's calming and it's cooling to the body. We can mist it on our skin and it cools. We can put it on the soles of our feet to cool the body temperature down really, really effectively. So how can one oil do all those different things? It's because they're adaptive. When they come into contact with our body, and wherever we put it topically or internally or aromatically, it knows what it has to do. It sees things that it can help and support, and that's what it does. So they're adaptive to our body, and that's why everyone acts differently to oils and reacts differently to oils. The other thing is they're selective. So when you have oils that have properties for immune support, for instance, versus an over-the-counter antibiotic, when you take something with an antibiotic property into our body, it will find the things that it has to eat, but it leaves, so it finds the bad bacteria, but it leaves the good bacteria. It doesn't need to attack the good bacteria because it knows that. It's smart because it's organic. It's made from the same material we're made of. Where if you have a synthetic version from over-the-counter medications or something from the doctors, it's basically, think of it as a machine. It's like, I will destroy everything. It just goes into the body and it kills all bacteria, good and bad. And what does that leave you with? No bacteria, no good bacteria. You need that for your gut. You need that for your immunity. So the fact that essential oils can be adaptive and selective is why they're so effective for our cell health. When we're talking about our cell health and we're talking about our emotional support, it's all linked. Gut health, brain, intuition. There are three brains. Mind, intuition, our heart, and our gut is our gut instinct. And we should be listening to all three. So again, this is another little picture. This is probably easier to see. This is the olfactory bulbs. So they actually are a little bulb. And then it comes up in through the pineal gland. Oh no, where are we up to? I can't even pronounce these words. These are the pineal gland. So this is in behind the eye. That's why it's very hard to get to. But the pituitary gland is very important. That's what we saw before. It controls all the different hormones, basically everything, even your bone density. It controls the whole thing. I don't know why it's not more targeted for people's health. I've never really heard about it that much. I've heard about thyroid health, but not the pituitary gland health. And maybe that's because it's really hard to get to, because look where it is. Like, how do you get to that in here? The easiest way I get to it is if you've got your spine, and then either side of your spine there's two little soft bits. Can you feel that? That's kind of where the softest part is. So if you want to, say, put cedarwood on your skin, I use that at night to sleep. That stimulates the pituitary gland. Cedarwood is a great one for the pituitary gland. And that's where your melatonin's produced. So when we talk about sleep and we talk about, oh, I'm going to run out of time. Okay, so what's going to happen if I run out of time? Go back, click on the original link, and we'll start again. But with the pituitary gland, yeah, all the other thing is the roof of your mouth, but not the hard palate, the soft palate at the back. So if you reach up, at the back of your mouth, that's the closest way to get things into your brain, or a drop under the tongue. So a drop of frankincense under the tongue is the fastest, most effective way, I guess, for all day mood support. I've been using it and I am by far, like, it's the best thing ever. So try even a drop of frankincense under the tongue for cellular health, but also emotional support throughout the day. And then, yeah, like this is a little mood matrix. So we've got the emotional oils, the emotional aromatherapy kit, which is fantastic. That's a whole nother thing again. But I just want to talk about Awesome Foursome, which is our mood management kit quickly. You've got Serenity, Citrus Bliss, Elevation, and Balance. And these were what we had as our mood management kit. And I use these every day, especially with the children. All four are safe for pregnancy. Okay, obviously check with your doctor, do your things, but from my research, these are four that are extremely safe for pregnancy. For children, I use them every single day for something or other. So you can see whether you're feeling overwhelmed or stressed. I call it stressed. Anxious, or no motivation, no passion, just meh. Or low energy. So when you think of the vertical plane, that is your physical emotion, so energy amount, so physical stress or emotional lack of energy, and then the horizontal plane is your emotional stress. So your anxious feelings or your depressed kind of feeling side. So those four oils, for whatever they are, $124 is the best investment that you can make into your emotional health. for you and your children at all stages through life. I use them, like I said, every single day. You want to look at in your life to the outside experiences that you have. So look about what's nourishing you and what's weighing you down. Think about what you want to weed out of your life, because at the end of the day, you've only got so much capacity. So you want to fill that with the good things. You want to fill that with people that, you know, bring you joy, bring you energy, bring your vibrational level up. And you want to start weeding out things that don't support that, because at the end of the day, life's too short. We need to look after ourselves. Get a diffuser in your home. Put these oils in, put these 4 mood management oils in, or intuitively pick something that you already have. Get the Emotions Essential Oils book and use that, because something that you might have might be exactly the number of times. Actually, it's funny. I'm going to stop sharing the page for a second. The number of times that I've had just bought an oil and not really thinking I was ever going to use it, just because I thought, oh, I don't have that one, I'll get that one. And the example of that is basil. So I just got basil because, I don't know, I thought it would be good to have. Anyway, I just did some research. I was doing some research for this webinar. And for adrenal support, the 2 oils that you need for adrenal support is rosemary, which I've had since pretty much day 1, and basil. So how awesome is that? So chances are that you're going to have oils that you've already bought that your body needs, because you know that. That's why you bought them. You intuitively bought them. So listen to that, and know that you can't do this wrong. You're the person that knows you, okay? See, I don't know who you are. I know who I am, and I kind of know my children and my husband, but still even that, not really. And your doctor doesn't know you. You know, your therapist thinks they know your brain, but they don't know what's feeling like. They only know things that you tell them. So you need to think about yourself. You need to really think about what it is that it's important to you and write it down. The number of people that, you know, have dreams and manifest things, but they never write it down, it doesn't materialize. It doesn't make sense until you physically put pen to paper. So after this webinar, I've got another thing. We've got 5 minutes, so it's going to be perfect timing, but I've got another meeting on there. If you want to do Q&A, if you have any questions, we can just chat. But what I would love you to do is just write down any emotions that have come up during this conversation, anything that has resonated with you, anything that is of interest. So remember things about the lymphatic system, pituitary gland. Sorry, this is my 3rd workshop today, so I'm a bit past it. But think about the cell receptors and how those essential oils, doesn't matter what they are, they're coming into our body and they're making those receptors cleaner, they're making our cells healthier, they're oxygenating our cells. And when everything's happy, we're happy. And we have to start with our gut. Think about your gut. It's really, really important. Listen to your heart and try and turn the brain logic off. I overanalyze everything a little bit too much. And I think when it comes to emotional health, it's really important when we're talking about the false mood and the true mood. Just think about it without the logic, because the logic is kind of coming up from your unconscious and you might not want that. You might just want to feel what you're feeling and see where that takes you. So I'm going to leave it at that. And I hope this was really informative for you. And like I said, 7 seconds to change your mood. It doesn't have to be anything specific. It just has to be a diffuser. It can be just cracking the bottle and giving it a smell. It can be to help the kids when they come home from school, the husband when he comes home from work. It can be, I love diffusing in the morning because it's setting up the vibe, it's setting up the mood for the day, before the kids go off to school, before people go off to work, and before, you know, I have to clean the house. You know, like, wow, that's awesome. So, you know, let's try and get some more smiles and some more love around, and the joy in the small stuff. But sometimes it's really hard to find that, and I've been there and I understand that. And all I can say is it's not your fault because we are, I guess, a million trillion cells covered petri dish, where we're just working our way through life, and all of our experiences from in vitro, from our from our mummy's tummy to where we are now, has made us who we are. But that does not mean that that's who we have to be tomorrow. Okay, so it doesn't mean who we have to be in a week or a year. Just write stuff down, have a vision board, diffuse light orange while you're making that vision board, and yeah, just have some fun with it and listen to yourself. And with that, I'll sign off, and I'll sign back on for a Q&A if you want to join me. Okay, if you have any questions to anyone watching this after I've done this live, just write it underneath and I'll get back to you. Bye. Oh, no, my mouse isn't working. There you go.